Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the SeaSucker Talon Bike Rack. This uses vacuum cups to mount it directly to your vehicle, and that way you can carry around a single bike. If you do like this style but you need to carry around more bikes, you can get more of the SeaSucker Talon, or you can take a look at the SeaSucker Mini Bomber or Bomber as multiple bike options. So depending on your bikes, you may be interested in the Talon MAX, which has the different adapters for your different thru-axles. You can also get just the Talon, and you can find the individual adapters here at etrailer. Check out our descriptions to make sure it matches your bike. But if you are interested in getting your bike onto your roof, but maybe you don't have a roof rack, you can't have a roof rack, you want something that's faster and easier than getting an entire roof rack and a roof-mounted bike rack, that's where this comes in handy. It has its pros though, and it has its cons, so we're gonna focus on those here at etrailer to see if this will fit your specific situation with how you wanna transport your bike. So the main pros about this rack is that it's lightweight, it's super versatile, and you don't have to install a roof rack. So the box that this arrives in, if you cut right where it gives instructions to cut, you can use this as a storage case. You can also put this in your bag, in your trunk, in your luggage if you're going to be using a rental vehicle. That way you still have a way of transporting your bike. You can also put this pretty much wherever you want on your vehicle. Of course, you're limited by the shape of your vehicle's roof and if you have ridges and things like that. But compared to a crossbar where you're limited to where the crossbars sit, you can put this as far to the side, as far in, as far to the driver's side as you want. Move this back and forth. And on some vehicles like vans, you can even mount this vertically. So as long as you have a non-porous surface like metal, fiberglass, glass, you can adhere the vacuum cups to it. For your dimensions, you need to have at least 13 inches wide for the rear two cups, 14 inches long for the front and back cup, as well as clearance for the wheelbase of your bike. This has a weight capacity of 45 pounds. And remember, with that weight capacity, if you want to use multiples of these, you're more limited by your roof weight capacity than the rack weight capacity. And also, the heavier your bikes are, the heavier weight you are going to have to lift. So the bike rack is made of HDPE for its board base. So this gives you a good base that distributes the weight to your vacuum cups. So for your front part of the Talon, it has 1, 2, and 3 vacuum cups, each providing a pull rating of 210 pounds. So this is a really strong vacuum. And if you're unsure about it, you can always look at the vacuum plungers to make sure it's secure. I've had SeaSucker products on my own roof, and in the morning I would just check to make sure the orange indicator was not seen. So if we lift up on this T-tab, this lets out the vacuum, and you just depress the plunger to vacuum down again. So as long as that is secure, you know your bike rack is secure and your bike is secure. This is a fork-mounted bike rack, so what do you do with your front tire? You could either put it inside your car, or you could take a look at the SeaSucker vacuum cup mounted flight deck, which holds on to your front tire beside your bike rack. So as much as we talk about vacuum cups and how secure something is and the material something is made of, let's take a look outside. We'll go on our test course and see how it performs in the real world. So we go through the slalom, which is when we make our sharp turns and our quick U-turns, and this is important to see the side-to-side sway of the bike. Here it looks really good, especially with how the forks are secure in the rack. Alternating speed bumps is where we simulate like hitting a curb or that diagonal movement. And you see the bike move around a little bit, but the rack is super secure. Then we have our up and down speed bumps, and this is probably the sturdiest of them all. There's no flexing of the roof since we have a stable surface. With this being compact and versatile, all that's left to look at is how to put it together. Let's take a look at that process. So this is going to be all the parts included with your kit. So it's going to arrive without the universal adapter attached, so you're going to attach that. But also you have all the tools like your hex wrench and your normal wrench to tighten things down. You get 3 thru-axle plugs included, as well as the plug and quick release skewer. If you need a different type of plug, you are going to have to get that separately. Your universal adapter lines up on the 2 holes of your base. Notice how we have the label facing the label. So secure it with 2 included bolts. With it upside down, you can then put the split washer as well as the nut on the bolt. Then use the included tools to tighten down the nut and the bolt on each side. With that tightened down, keep those pad covers on because we're going to set this on the floor to set up our bikes. So on the floor, if you have a quick release skewer, this is a really good time to set your tension before you attach the skewer. For a thru axle like this one, that's not a necessary feature, but this is where I figure out how far out our wheelbase for our rear cradle is going to be. So prep the surface of your roof. So if you have just a normal flexing roof, you're going to have more strength towards the front windshield or the rear windshield. If you have a glass roof, that usually has the same strength all throughout. You're going to want to clean off those surfaces, and I like to add a little bit of water to the surface as well as to the vacuum pads for some extra suction. So this has a glass roof. We're going to go as close to the edge as we can get, staying away from the actual edges of the roof. And I have the pads with a little water on them, so you're going to push down on the front one as you depress that vacuum. And you keep going until you can no longer see any of the orange indicator. Even if you have an angle on your roof, that's okay because this will actually bend a little bit. That's why you do the front one first and then you do the rear ones to accommodate for that curve. With your measurements for your wheelbase, that's going to be where you place your rear cradle, and it's going to be the exact same process. Push down, depress the plunger. So you get this crank arm strap included, and that's to be used to secure your pedals. That way when it's on your roof, it doesn't rotate and hit your roof. If you're using a thru-axle adapter, push in the appropriate plug for your thru-axle. Now it's time to put the bike onto the roof. So carefully get it into the rear cradle, get lined up with your thru axle, and then push your thru axle in to secure your fork. Once your thru axle is through, just tighten it down to the proper torque. Secure the rear wheel with the hook and loop strap on your rear cradle. This is a large strap, so we have a fat tire, which is great. If you have thin road bike tires, there might be a little extra you fold into yourself. And if you have this mounted up and down, you actually do not need this strap. And that's it. It takes a little bit of time to get your adapters in and to put the mount into the SeaSucker base, but after that, it's just a matter of taking your bike off and on. Now the process might be a little trickier depending on if you have a taller vehicle, if your roof is ridged, if you need to mount this further towards the inside of your vehicle. You might need a little help like I do sometimes with the heavier bikes, but that's the overall process of how to get your bike set up on your roof. So when carrying around bikes, I always recommend please get a hitch-mounted bike rack. But sometimes that really is not an option, whether it's because you can't get a hitch or you can't get a roof rack, or maybe you are traveling and using different vehicles like a rental vehicle or your mom's car, and you don't know what the roof rack or hitch situation is going to be like. So this is going to be a versatile, compact, and the lightweight way to carry around your bikes. It does have its pros and cons, so hopefully this video helped you out with seeing if this is the right fit for you, your roof surface, and your bike. A downside though to SeaSucker accessories is their locking capabilities, or more of their lack of locks. So if you want to secure this, you're gonna have to look at other options, like SeaSucker does offer a cable lock for the window or the trunk. I'm not a huge fan of those because the window lock involves a metal bracket on your window. I prefer to use something like the Thule locking straps, just because I could strap that around the bike as well as part of the bike rack, and then I throw the end of the straps into the door and close the door on it. I mean, those are more of just theft deterrents anyways, so definitely something to consider. You may have to just take off your bike and the rack once you arrive at your destination. That right there was a look at the SeaSucker Talon bike rack. You can get it as the Talon MAX or just the Talon right here at etrailer.com. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.